We have 5 things you can do right now to be healthier in 2026.
This is suspense. What did he put as number 1? If you're increasing your caffeine intake, you're decreasing your hydration. We actually have a lot of work to do on movement, simply just moving. Eat real food, right? So make sure that your breakfast is actually real food. What do you consume for breakfast? Do you consume cereal out of a bag? Okay, that's not real food.
This podcast is about being well now, and we have 5 things you can do right now to be healthier in 2026.
Oh, today I'm excited about these 5 things. This is great.
I'm always asking you. You're Dr. Ron Dummar, and I'm Nick. I'm a co-host of the Be Well Now podcast, a patient here at the Community Health and Wellness Clinic. Anyway, I'm a friend of yours, but I'm always asking you to simplify things. Give me something I can just take with me.
Distill it.
Something snackable. And you gave me 5. I don't know if they're easy. They're simple. Are they easy? What are they? 5 things we can do to be healthier. Like, let's go.
Yeah, so I wanted to look up just a few things so people could have a reference point, because I think sometimes it's good to have a reference point of that. Why is this such an important detail for us to have, especially as a New Year's resolution, okay? So 47% of adults in the United States consume below the recommended amount of plain water.
What does that mean? We just don't drink enough water?
They don't drink enough water.
Even if it's chlorinated, full of pharmaceuticals,
47%.
We still should be drinking water.
Yes. And 7%, almost 10% of people don't drink any water at all.
Oh, the I drink soda all day people?
Yes, yes.
I'm not here to malign anyone.
No, but
the habits are real.
Yeah, and then 80% of Gen Zers said that they have actually increased over the past 2 years. They've increased their caffeine intake. And if you're increasing your caffeine intake, you're decreasing your hydration.
Those are the facts?
Those are the facts. Yeah.
So if you're going to drink more caffeine, at least hydrate more?
So you need to hydrate more. Yeah. So it's like if you're going to include caffeine in your diet in a higher amount, and I get that, more stressful job, more stressful study situation, whatever. I get it. You have hard days. I tell you all the time, this is the way to use caffeine. It's like, okay, if it's a difficult day, if I know something challenging is coming up, I got to be sharp, then use a little caffeine on that day, right? But not every single day. If you can avoid using it every single day. But if you do need to use it, then make sure that your hydration that day as well is up. So your electrolytes as well, you want to make sure a little salt maybe in the water or lemon water, doing something to increase the electrolytes that you're getting in your body, not just the water, because if you're doing reverse osmosis, you're not getting minerals. So you're actually not properly hydrating the body by drinking reverse osmosis water because you're extracting all the nutrients out of it. So you have to make sure you put minerals back into the water. So hydration is our number 1 key. Making sure, first of all, now this is number 5. Okay, we're going to go to the number 1 in a minute.
So we're kind of doing...
We're going 5 down to 1 progressively.
Like the old David Letterman.
There you go, yeah.
For my old...
Suspense.
Yeah.
This is suspense. What did he put as number 1?
Yeah. So number 5 is hydration?
Number 5 is hydration, yep.
How do we get our kids to drink more water? I think that's a challenging one. I've got the 9 and 10-year-old.
Buy them a cool water bottle. Buy them their favorite brand or whatever, or their, if it's what videos or movies do your kids like to watch? Like Minions or I'm trying to think of some other things that
I just know my daughter wants
like
more and more water bottles,
or,
so that must be a thing. She has like 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, they like it. Kids like water bottles.
Like I bought you a Contigo one, or I bought you a. I don't know.
Yeah, they don't want the nice ones.
I bought you a Hydro Flask one that you liked, and now you wanted a pink one with strawberries. I'm like, that Hydro Flask one was expensive.
Yes.
That's a whole nother thing. Maybe that's a...
Yeah.
Maybe girls just
keep buying her. Just keep buying it for her, Nick.
Okay. So a cool water bottle. That's a good tip.
I think a cool water bottle is a great thing.
That's an easy to use tip. Like you're giving us something snackable. Like implement this to improve your life. If your kids don't drink enough water, maybe consider...
Yeah, and then if they don't... So a lot of my patients would say, I don't like the flavor of water. I don't like the flavor of water. So that's another issue. If you don't like how water tastes, okay, then we need to be thinking about why is your water tasting that way? It's very likely if you don't like the way water tastes that you're on city water, that you're not filtering your water, you're not filtering it through the fridge, you're not filtering it through a nice countertop filter, and you're obviously not filtering it with an under the sink filter. But there's a lot of options. You can get a whole house water filtration system, and that will help. or you can get a, don't you have like a Brita filter? Brita does a pretty good job.
Yeah, I think you recommended some brand from China or Japan.
There's another Hyaskin, Hyaskan. Yeah.
And I use it, and I like the taste of the water. I mean, it's a very budget-friendly option, and I just ordered 2 more filters on Amazon the other day. I'd like to save up for like a Kangen water system or a whole house water filtration system one day. I know that a lot of people, can't afford the big purchase, so they're like, what's the most
so filter
attainable
your water.
thing? Just filter it with something?
Filter something.
Okay.
Like make an attempt, make a step in the right direction, and the kids will actually like the flavor of it better. You'll like the flavor of it better. And then if you still need something, I'd say keep lemons, keep citrus, limes, and then just cut some up and squeeze it into the water.
Yeah, it's an easy way to spice up the water a little bit.
So
Not
simple.
Spice it, but make it taste different.
Okay, number 4.
So this is number 4 in order. 5 was water. We're getting to number 1. How to be healthy in 2026. I'm ready. Hit me with it.
We live in a pretty active area, Heber, Utah, Park City, up in the mountains. There's a lot of mountain biking, outdoors. Everybody's outdoors in the wintertime. We're outdoors in the summertime. We're pretty active people, okay? How many people, what percentage of adults would you suggest engage in the actual recommended amount of aerobic activity daily?
I don't even know what that recommended amount of activity is.
Okay, so you should be participating in 60 minutes of activity. Like activity, that could be going on a hike, riding a bike, doing something, right? And that's not high intensity interval training or anything like that. I think you should be doing high intensity interval training another probably 3-4 times a week at 60 minutes additional. But you should be doing activity every single day of at least 60 minutes. Only 23% of Americans actually get the recommended amount of activity daily. Okay? So that's pretty low. That means we actually have a lot of work to do on movement, simply just moving. Well, okay, is it possible to get a different type of chair at your desk, right? Some people have optioned for a ball, like a Swiss ball that they just sit on, and then they're bouncing. They're actually getting movement through the day, and then they're stabilizing. And then other people, they get like a stand-up desk, and they'll go up and down and up and down. Now, that's a little bit of movement. It's still not 60 minutes of walking or exercise or activity. Some companies have a gym, or they'll have a court or some activity where people can go to and get some exercise. I would utilize that. If you work in a facility like that, go use it. Figure out a way to be active for at least 60 minutes every single day. Okay?
Sounds intimidating, but could we at least just start with a 15-minute walk? I mean, does anyone ever feel worse or muddier in their thought process or just moodier after a walk?
So much better.
Just 15 minutes outside.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm a big proponent of start with walks. I'm not a doctor, by the way.
But start with walks.
But it's start
Absolutely.
with walks. Because I've had injuries and I've been frustrated and I've had a lot of frustrating health things where it's I just didn't ever have a body that held up to strenuous exercise. And I was wishing that I could be in the gym or do all these things that I saw the people doing. And the one thing that was a safe place for me to take it as far as I wanted to was walking.
Right.
So it's the one thing you can control, even if, because I've seen some pretty overweight people, peers, friends, they're going to get into shape this year and they're hitting the gym 5 days a week and then they sprain an ankle and then they're really depressed. I was there's a lot of challenges that come from being tough. Sedentary to getting active. Walking is a nice bridge toward your goals.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think it's a great thing to do. Point is, get out and walk. Try to make a goal, 60 minutes every day of doing something, some activity. It could be a treadmill in your office or a treadmill in your home. It could be anything, right? But just get out and do something, play with the kids in the back or whatever, however it works for you. Be active, 60 minutes if you can. And then to step up from that, I would do, like I said, 3 to 4 days a week doing some sort of HIIT training, high intensity interval training, some sort of weight training, something like that. That'll really increase the detoxification in the body, opens the pores, allows you to sweat. All systems go, right? You feel way better. You're detoxing from a cellular level. You have what we call autophagy, Well, there's something as well called mitophagy. You get down to mitophagy, which is the detoxification and elimination of debris from the mitochondria as well. So the actual powerhouse itself that's creating the energy for your body to survive and thrive, it has a detoxification pathway itself called mitophagy. So we need to be able to eliminate these things, but it's the action and the movement of our bodies that's going to elicit that.
Get exercise.
Get exercise.
Okay. Hydration, exercise. They sound pretty basic. I'm ready for you to blow my mind. You got 3 more opportunities to really.
Here we go.
Flip a switch.
And this is kind of a piggyback on RFKJ, our last episode where we talked about his upside down pyramid.
The new food pyramid.
The new food pyramid. Eat real food. Okay, so how many people do you think? What percentage of people do you think actually get their adequate allotment of fruits and vegetables daily?
I mean, is the adequate amount like some idealized lofty goal, or is it like what can be attained in a daily? It's like I never know.
That's a good point. So
I would say 30%.
10%.
10%?
10%. 1 in 10. Yeah, only 1 in 10 actually meet the federal guidelines.
So what should I have every day? How much veggies and fruit should I have every day?
Well, it's easier to do it this way. Okay, because we like to get down to very specifics and say how much should I weigh it out, right, and put it the size of your fist, or what should I be doing? This is what I say we need to be doing, and this is the same thing because this plays on the pyramid. Okay, we're kind of flipping that pyramid upside down and saying eat real food, right? So make sure that your breakfast is actually real food. What do you consume for breakfast? Do you consume cereal out of a bag? Okay, that's not real food. So let's make a change there. What can we consume for breakfast? Can we consume actual fruit? Can we consume berries? Sure. Can we consume eggs? Maybe meat, some sort of fat, avocado, right? There's lots of different things. And all of a sudden, if we start consuming food that way, we're going to meet our vegetable and our fruit intake daily. And that's all we have to do is just flip in our brain the food that we're consuming. Instead of ultra processed, actually eat real food.
I cooked my friend breakfast one time. He came over, and he's a real busy guy. A lot of employees, busy shop. Love this guy, but he works, and I work from home, and I just cooked him on the breakfast that I usually make, and it was like some eggs and avocado, and he's like, bro, you eat like a king.
Yeah.
And I know your whole thing is treat your body like a high-end sports car. I don't try to eat like a king out of some self-importance.
Sure.
It's just that
have some respect.
This is fuel, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and so 60% of
why wouldn't you want to eat like a king in that way? Not in a king that gets gout from eating
for sure.
cake and all the other things of
and alcohol,
liquor and all that shit. All the things why wouldn't you want healthy fuel?
Absolutely.
For breakfast?
You want to give yourself the best fuel possible, especially in the morning too. If you're going to the first meal that you eat.
It had just must be nice kind of vibe to it. I was like, I don't want it to be that.
Must be nice to be Nick, huh?
No, it was whoa, you have time to cook. And it's not that I have time. I just make it happen.
Yeah, you just have to do it. You have to have that respect for yourself. If you don't have the respect for yourself, you're not going to take the time.
Well, I'm not going to feel good
if
I don't eat good food.
Yeah, well,
Sorry.
You don't. You don't feel good if you don't eat good food. And the reality is you are what you eat. And it matters what you put in your mouth. It matters. Everything you say, everything you do every single day that you put into your mouth, it matters. Okay? And it's literally, you are a high-end sports car. Treat yourself like one.
That's not being selfish?
No, that's not being selfish. Well, it is being selfish. The way you should be selfish. I mean, maybe we have maybe selfish, the word selfish has a bad rap, right? Okay, if I'm on the plane and I take the mask down, I put it on me first, is that selfish? Because that's what I'm told. I mean, I'm kind of told to do that now, aren't we? When we're on the plane, save yourself first before, you'll have a tendency to want to save your child, I guess, first. But if you save yourself, then you'll be able to save your child. Well, if you don't save yourself with food, if you don't feed yourself properly, how can you save your child? How can you feed them properly? How can you be around? How can you be cogently engaged in whatever activity they need you for? Whether it's homework, mathematics, or playing outside a sport with them. Be engaged, be involved in their life, and be that way as long as possible. And the only way to do that is to feed yourself, treat yourself like your high-end sports car.
That's another mic drop moment on the Be Well Now podcast. Let's go.
And
I like to see you fire up for the new year.
While we're on that topic, 60+% of the U.S. standard American diet contains ultra-processed foods.
What does that mean,
so think about that.
Foods?
Also, ultra-processed foods. These are foods in packages, generally, with long ingredient lists, right? So those are the ultra-processed foods.
So rice is a packaged food, but that's okay in certain doses?
Yeah, so well, tell me the ingredient list on the package of rice.
Rice.
Okay, good. There you go. That's a very good. So that's one of the ways we determine, okay, is this a highly processed, ultra-processed food? So I look at a different package. What about the package of Oreos? What does that ingredient list look like? It's going to be 5 ingredients, 10 ingredients, 20 ingredients. Okay, so when you have a lengthy list of ingredients, it's ultra-processed. Okay. Also, when it doesn't look like it was recently picked, plucked, dug, it has to be washed. It's not found in the produce section. That is requiring more processing. So you can have foods that are processed. Like cooking is a process, right? So just because you cooked something doesn't mean that all of a sudden now you're serving ultra-processed food at your dinner table. No, but you are serving processed food, and you processed it. You processed it at home via heat, okay? That is a process, and that's okay. It's okay to process foods. But we want to avoid the ultra processing and the extraction and solvents, using chemicals and solvents. They extract certain things. They take what they consider to be the dirt, the minerals out of it, and then they have to re-inject new minerals or synthetic vitamins into it, calling it fortified, right? So all of a sudden they're fortifying something they never had to fortify in the first place, so they just would have left it alone, let it be food.
I'm thinking of all the cereal I had or had seen in the aisles where like it says extra vitamin D or I don't know, like whatever it has, like fortified. Fortified with
to me means synthetic.
Yeah. Now that I see that, I know what you mean. Or even on like orange juice where it says like extra vitamin C or like even milk where it's like extra vitamin D or I don't know.
And you want to make sure that it wasn't added. Like usually vitamin D milk, it's added.
Right.
They'll add the vitamin D.
Is that bad?
Yeah. Well, why do they need to add vitamin D to it?
What kind of milk should we be drinking? Dr. Ron Dummar, what do I need at home? Can I buy milk from the store?
I personally don't really drink milk. Like I might on very rare occasion have a sip of milk. If I were to drink any sort of milk myself personally, I would probably drink raw milk.
But you're saying like we can get nutritional excellence in our lives without drinking milk?
Oh yeah.
Like you can meet your nutritional needs without having milk as something as a staple that you drink. Because as a kid, we drank skim milk at dinner every night.
Yeah, yeah.
From Cub Foods in Minnesota.
And it was, you're trained to be skim so that you didn't get all the nasty fat, apparently.
Right, in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
The low-fat movement and everything.
Low fat, no fat.
Oh,
that's when margarine came around.
Human experience.
Remember margarine?
I remember margarine.
Is that still around? I don't think I've even seen margarine.
No, but when I go home sometimes, like I'll see like the no fat butter or like the whatever in the fridge, and I'm like, oh man, butter's not bad. I don't think.
No, butter is so
good quality
good
butter is good for you.
Yeah, and you can clarify it too and get ghee, right? So you get rid of some of those milk fat solids.
I was gonna say butter is dairy.
Yes, butter is dairy.
So you're not dairy free if you consume butter. But,
that's right.
But ghee could be dairy free. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, you get rid of the milk solids. Yeah, I mean technically it's still a dairy product. But you're getting rid of the big proteins, those milk solids. You're simmering the ghee in the oil, and you'll see the milk solids come up. And then you pour off the oil through a cheesecloth, and then you get rid of the milk solids, the milk fats.
All right. So what step was that? I forgot what we started talking about. That
was 3, Whole Foods. We were talking about Whole Foods, right?
Okay.
1 in 10 Americans actually consume the right amount of like 10% fruits and veggies.
Okay.
All right. So number 2, you ready?
I'm ready.
Number 2 is pay attention to your metabolic health.
How do I do that?
Pay attention to your metabolic health. So that's where you are metabolically. You could do like a DEXA scan. You could do a You could get labs, and I think this is the best way to do it, is check your labs, check your sugars, get a panel that checks your kidney, panel that looks at your liver enzymes and your C-reactive protein to see where your inflammatory markers are for your heart. Check to see if there's any sort of underlying autoimmune disorders or conditions that might be lurking through the genetics. You can check your thyroid, which I think is a very important thing to check, and see if there's any potential immune pathogenesis occurring within the thyroid. Sometimes 95% of thyroid issues, like people get diagnosed with hypothyroid or hyperthyroid, and sometimes it goes back and forth. And what we find is 95% of thyroid issues actually tend to be Hashimoto's.
What does that mean?
So meaning if someone gets diagnosed as hypothyroid or hyperthyroid, they have an issue with their thyroid, usually you can almost bet that person has Hashimoto's or is developing Hashimoto's disease.
What does that mean?
So that's an autoimmune disease where your immune system actually attacks the thyroid. So your immune system creates antigens or antibodies to your thyroid, meaning it thinks it's pathogenic, meaning it thinks it's an infection. And so it will create inflammation and swelling in your thyroid, and sometimes your throat will start to swell and create a goiter, and then you can end up with problems. So frequently what practitioners will do is they'll prescribe hormone. They'll just give you T4 or T3. They'll just give the person the hormone to help counteract, because they're like, oh yeah, I can see you're having problems, so we'll just give you some hormone. But if you have Hashimoto's, and 80, 90% of those cases of people who have thyroid issues do actually have or are developing Hashimoto's, and you don't address the underlying issue, the underlying cause, the root cause, which is actually the immune system treating the thyroid as pathogenic. If you don't treat that, you're going to spiral down forever, and you're just going to continually need and be on thyroid medication for the rest of your life.
Having done labs in your office, I know that it's like an upfront cost, and a lot of people are just budgeting and trying to survive. Let's be honest about the human condition. It's difficult, and there's lots of costs. There's utility bills and car insurance and kids.
Sure.
But it's like, having done the labs, I feel like I've just learned so much about what's going on with my body, and I've been able to address a lot of things. So if anyone out there's like on the fence, find a healthcare provider you trust. I think a lot of insurance providers actually do labs now. Is that
absolutely?
So it's not something you have to do out of pocket all the time, or
not always, and in certain cases our staff can figure that out and whether that works with your plan. But I would say regardless, it's still worth the investment.
It's worth the investment.
It's worth the investment to know where you are and to head off or hedge off any of these potential things that might be lurking just around the corner. And that's what we're looking to do. That's what functional medicine, that's what optimizing your health, that's what it's all about. That's what we do here at Community Health and Wellness.
So if they want to reach out before we get to number one, I'm sure there's a link to Community Health and Wellness. If they're like, I want to call this guy, I want to get a lab and analysis, how do they do that?
Yeah, so you can text our number directly and get a hold of us. Our staff will reply to you and respond, and we'll help you out as much as we can. So you can text us directly at 435-657-3696. The other thing you can do is you can reach out to us through our website, which is at CHW, which is like Community Health and Wellness, chwheber.com.
A friend who's in her mid-30s is like, I feel really good. I'm working out all the time. And I'm like, have you had your labs drawn? And she's like, no, I haven't. I'm like, I think you should. I was like, I was kind of surprised. I was like, of all the things that you're doing, you don't really know where you're at. I mean, I know you can trust if you're doing well and you feel good, that's one thing. But it's like, sometimes you just never know.
Yeah, well,
right? I mean, you know more about this than I do. Is that something someone ought to do in their 30s?
I think, yes. If you're definitely by your 30s, I think if you're in your 20s, I mean, if you're early 20s, if you're married, if you're a parent, if you have a job, if you have a difficult, challenging lifestyle, you know what I mean? Like there's so many things that optimizing your health is only going to benefit you, right? It's like, let's go through a challenging situation in the poorest health possible, right? Like,
right.
Who wants to do that? Well, no, yes, you can go through a challenging situation, and it might be a sacrifice. It might be difficult to put time into taking care of yourself. But it does make so much more sense to say, let's give ourselves the very best chance health-wise for my brain to function appropriately, for my body to be at peak performance, for me to try out for this team, or for me to be pushing my limits to see how far I can go within this industry, right? And I'm on this executive team and I need to really perform. It's like, yeah, so make sure your health is in order. Because if your health is not in order and you're in one of those high stress environments, high situations, what will soon happen is your weaknesses of health will show themselves. And it won't be pretty.
I'm sure you've seen this over and over in your clinic, and I'm sure I just think of guys probably show up to you when they're out of all the alternatives, right?
They're like, I don't know what I do. Working. I got rashes, I got this, they have so many other problems, digestive issues, right? More things too that are like, it's like societal almost for them. They can't engage properly, they feel like, at some point in society because of certain conditions that they're facing, right? And so then we have to help them create a plan, work their way back, and then it works out for them, which is great. But it's like, let's do that first. Let's be proactive rather than reactive in our health.
Which might bring us to number one, but I'm not sure because I don't know what it is.
And it does bring us to number one because number one is about being proactive with something that we don't feel much, and that is our gut, our digestion. We're not sitting there like, okay, now push it from the cecum on to the transverse colon. We're not sitting there telling our body how to digest. We don't have any real, you think about it.
Wait, I've had a lot of issues recently, so I actually sometimes get spiritual with it sometimes.
There we go.
I'll start eating and I'll make sure I'm chewing a lot, and I just want to send it in there. I'm like, just
you can do it.
Feed me. Digest for me. This is your fuel. Because I've had some frustrating gut issues, and I'm just saying, I don't know if it works or not. But when nothing else works, then you're willing to try things.
I like it.
That's where I've been at.
Well, I like it, Nick, and I'm going to recommend that to everybody out here right now, to talk to your GI. Because it will listen.
It's talking to my brain.
It's
the GI is when you see a map of your body, how convoluted the stomach is, what's all going on in there?
Yeah, it goes crisscrosses back and forth and up and down, and then it moves over, right? It covers a lot of ground. It covers a lot of ground. It's a very sophisticated network. And they have these tight gap junctions, right? You have these tight gap junctions that are deciding to open or close. They're reading. You have this microvilli that's like a carpet, right? And it kind of moves things through, and it decides, gosh, do we take these proteins in? Do we leave them? What do we do? So you have a very, very complex, very sophisticated system that's constantly analyzing. Plus, the majority of your immune system, of your immune response, of your antibody production, the majority of that takes place in your gut, in your intestines. Okay, so if you want a healthy immune response, we were talking about that prior. If you want a healthy immune system, if you want a healthy immune response, then you need to think gut health as number one.
And what do I do with that info?
How do you do that?
Gut health. How do I support my gut?
So the best ways to support gut are, first of all, thinking foods. I need to consume foods, prebiotics that are going to be feeding the biotic cultures that I desire to have in my gut, my GI. So there are certain foods that promote quality and beneficial bacteria to be produced. And then there are foods that actually discourage beneficial bacteria being produced and encourage the malfeasant ones, the bad ones, right? So I mentioned to you before inulin. So these highly processed, refined fibers, actually, if you consume them in too high of amount, they promote negative bacteria to be produced in your gut. And then you develop bloating and you'll have constipation. You'll be like, oh my gosh, what am I eating? Well, you look on your products, some of these products that people are consuming, like different protein drinks and things like that, the sweeteners. And so all of these, look at the products that you're consuming because they may have inulin and you want to be careful. Okay, you want to be careful with consuming inulin.
Is it just literally on an ingredient list, inulin?
It's on an ingredient.
You don't want inulin?
Yeah. Well, you can have small amounts of it. Small amounts of it are actually good for digestion. Okay, because it's like a fiber. Okay. So if it's like at the very end or a very limited amount, but if it's a large amount, if it's one of the earlier ingredient lists listed earlier, then you want to be very careful with that. Or if boy, I consume this and then I get bloating or constipation, that's one reason very likely it could be because of the inulin in it that's causing that. Okay. So the other thing is those prebiotics. Some of the best prebiotics though are also cultured vegetables like sauerkraut, kimchi, pickles. All of those type of vegetables are actually really good to consume.
So pickles are healthy for you?
They're good for you, yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I mean, ideally, finding pickles that are not pasteurized, right? If they're unpasteurized, and sauerkraut's also good for you, and then also kimchi. Those fermented foods. Kefir is actually really good for you. These are more probiotics now that we're moving into with kefir, but probiotics are also something that is very beneficial. A substance that I like to use with my patients a lot to help promote beneficial bacteria within the gut and the GI is caprylic acid. And I think you have some of that too. I think, Nick, I
had a couple capsules today.
Oh, there you go.
Before my lunch.
So caprylic acid is actually, it promotes beneficial bacteria to be developed and to essentially to reproduce within the gut. So if you have beneficial bacteria reproducing within the gut, it's at a higher amount. So those beneficial bacteria are the ones that are going to reign supreme. And that's what we want. We don't want any nefarious bacteria becoming king, right? And so we don't want like strep or staph or some of those other ones that become more problematic in our body. They're in our body all the time, but we need them balanced. Okay. With the gut, some other things with the gut, that I wanted to mention. One thing that I really like to do with the gut is making sure that you actually are passing bowel movements regularly. Okay. So again, we talked about 1 to 3 stools a day. You should be passing 1 to 3 snakes a day, every single day. And if you're not, then we need to be thinking, okay, do I need to include prebiotics, probiotics? Do I need more fiber? Okay, should I be including more berries? Do I need a smoothie? Should I use avocado? All those are options that you could be thinking and utilizing if you need to. Other things, if you're feeling like, okay, I've done a lot of these things, my body's feeling achy, I feel like I might be sick or something as well, my gut feels off, there's things that are beneficial that you can utilize, and that is actually hydrocolon therapy, introducing water into the colon and allowing it to just clear and empty the debris from the gut and the GI and giving your body that opportunity to reset. So the lining of the colon, the lining of the GI is super impressive. You can actually replenish. Let's say you have you take antibiotics or you have something that eliminates a lot of the lining of the intestines. You can actually replenish that with using proper hydration, using proper intake of prebiotics and probiotics, caprylic acid. You can replenish that lining within 3 days.
What?
Within 3 days. Pretty cool. Okay, so it's very, very active. It's very active, and it will respond to the health measures that you introduce to it. So what I like to do is I think of the hydrocolon therapy or like an at-home enema, or some people implement coffee enemas. I like to think about that as like, okay, this is a reset. I'm just doing a gut reset. So I'm going to clear this out, and then I'm doing broth. I'm doing, vegetables. I'm doing fruit, and I'm introducing these probiotics, prebiotics, and caprylic acid to really just help reset that lining over the next at least 3 days. And once you've done that, it should be a total gut reset and you're good to go.
Folks may want to do the gut reset at their house and just plug and play something off the internet. It sounds like you would recommend less of that and more of like talk to a healthcare provider you trust.
Yes.
Because everyone's health is so unique.
Yeah, there may be some different variations that you're going to need, or some supporting herbals that will be more beneficial for you based on that practitioner's observation of your condition.
what can they take away if they don't come see you at Community Health and Wellness? Caprylic acid?
Caprylic acid is something great to implement into your diet on occasion, 2 to 4 times a week.
Before meals?
Digestive enzymes can be super helpful too. Sometimes a little HCl, especially if you're consuming a heavy meal like meat focused and fat focused. If it's high in fat, the meal, you probably want to consume like bile acids. All of those things you can do just kind of as understanding, what does bile do? Bile breaks down fat. Okay, if I'm consuming a high fatty meal, I want to have more bile. So I support my gallbladder and support my liver by introducing bile into my diet while I'm consuming fat. Okay, so it's not going to tax the liver or the gallbladder. If I'm consuming a high protein diet or a high protein meal, then I may want to use some HCl to just break down those fibers into amino acids so that they can be properly delivered to the liver, because the liver's got to take all those amino acids and build new proteins from them. And if we're not able to break them down appropriately into the amino acids because we don't have enough acid in the stomach to actually break it down, then we're left with just sluggish digestion and decomposing food material as opposed to the product that we should be eliminating.
5 tips to be well now in 2026.
Namaste, everyone.
Namaste.